Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara, all relations. Today I've hopped timelines. As you could tell, I look different. I'm feeling different right before my travels. And I've made an identity shift on the 29th. Today is a few days after that shift that I had made. And it was a huge timeline jump, I believe. And right now is a time for this kind of rebirth energy that's really kicking off for a lot of us, right? We're feeling like we're burning ourselves out and we're kind of going about things in similar ways, and our old patterns and beliefs and stories keep coming up. And it's up to you to finally take a stand as a spiritual game changer. And I'm telling you why, because they need you now more than ever. Look at the spiritual circus around you. It's going to shambles, right? We're not really understanding what the true gift of being spiritual is, which is accessing the right side of our brains and being able to live in hemisync, live in harmonious life, right? Full of aliveness and realness, instead of being disconnected, dissatisfied, dissociated, right? Like, this isn't a game of escapism, but this is how I started my spiritual journey. Right? I started my spiritual path by wanting to escape this prison planet, or whatever you want to call it, right? But then I started to realize, no, it's about unlayering. Do you want to know why it feels like people are spiritually cooked nowadays? Because most people nowadays in the spiritual communities are bypassing a life that they're actually too scared to live. So the full moon baths, okay, crystal ceremony, sound healing, incense, YouTube tarot readings, all good, all amazing, right? All fun. Until they become your escape hatch for actually taking responsibility for who you are, okay? So I have nothing against the tools that people use, but identity shifting is about becoming a new person, which is why I had to lose the big beard and the big hair, right? Because I was attached to that imagery of being a spiritual, like being seen as spiritual, right? I had to crush that ego in order for me to recalibrate this thing. But the whole idea is actually a trap. It's a kind of a resistance loop. Because the moment you try to be something else, be something new than what you already are, you're not enough now. And your subconscious loves keeping you in that prison. So the real identity shift happens when you stop fighting yourself and you give yourself full internal permission without apology to feel and behave as the highest version of you right now. Not after waiting to be worthy, okay? Not after you've done that cacao ceremony, right? It's not about adding layers, stacking affirmations like protein pancakes. And it's not trying to fake a new type of personality. It's just removing the bullshit, the stories, the lies you've been telling yourself, right? The inherited shame that's not serving you any longer. The stories, the borrowed identities from your own culture, right? Memes, different mentors. So the identity is not something you build. It's actually something that you've got to cultivate. You peel back the layers of socially installed malware until you hit the core you, the real you, right? The one that's excited, the one that's full of life and potency. Your identity is not something you build, it's something you excavate and discover. This is why we need to find the unfiltered you beneath the noise. This is why you're a spiritual game changer who's about to step in and change the whole spiritual map for people. Right? It's kind of like someone's pulling the rug out from under them. It's like, whoa, right? It's a new paradigm now, right? Full of AI and all this fakeness. Everywhere you look around, are we still in the simulation? I don't know. A lot of people are thought policing nowadays. I can't even make a comment about spirituality without someone saying, oh, you're schizomaxing. Oh, you're this. Oh, why are you saying it like this? Right? Whereas actually I'm doing the very opposite. Schizomaxing would be me rambling and being completely disconnected from reality and not making a point in my videos, right? Whereas I'm doing the very opposite. I'm actually diving in with these spirit guides and all these different lenses and layers. And I'm fully getting back to the core. And that's what Primal Sutra is about. It's about getting back to that core, back to that baseline, back to the unconditioned self, the one before conditioning. That innocence, that purity, that signal of instinct. From the void, the presence is born. But here's the uncomfortable part. Most of what you're projecting right now isn't even you. right? It's the version of you that learned to survive, right? This polite version, the spiritual version, don't make waves, I better not make waves version. The one who's terrified of being judged, being abandoned, being misunderstood. I get it, right? You're not projecting your essence, you're projecting your fears. And this is why the game changers are different. We don't add more, we subtract. We remove, we burn the bridges, we cut the weight, right? We move forward with new efficiency. There's sandbags of belief that people have tied to your legs your whole life. You're too young to be a life coach. You're too old to start a gym. You're too fat, you're too thin. You're too sensitive, you're too weird. You're too intense. You're too different. Cut the sandbags, okay? Cut the sandbags. No more leaning on mommy or daddy. No more leaning on the government. No more leaning on, your next door neighbor to get you that one up in the video game of life. Because you cannot take off while still carrying the lies that still own you. These lies were never yours to begin with. You just magnetized them. And the fastest way you can expose the fake spirituality within yourself is if you just replace one comfort act, one comfort ritual that you do, with one confrontational act, right? Carefrontational act that you're going to do, okay? Just one, that's all I'm saying. This is for the real game changers. We're not here to dilly-dally, right? The hard conversation you've been dodging. The cold exposure you keep promising yourself but never doing. The decision that you know is overdue. The boundary you fear, an apology you owe, a habit you refuse to look at, the truth that you've been swallowing. Comfort rituals make you feel spiritual, sure, but confrontational acts make you powerful, right? There's a very big difference to me doing Tai Chi. Right? I'm feeling kind of soft and sedated afterwards, like a kind of Zen-like state. Not saying that I'm not into that state. I love that state, right? But if I'm moving like that, I better start moving my gutta around like that in the same way, right? With that flow. Because I understand that that's the potency of taking action along with the spirit and the flow, right? It's so important to balance out your polarities of masculine and feminine. If I was hyper-feminized as a man, right, these videos would not have that clarity and that, straightforwardness. Yeah, let's cover a bunch of different topics and kind of, just blend into all of it and not make any impact, not make any waves. Just be safe and comfortable and make sure everybody's fine and make sure everybody's safe and okay, right? If I did it like that, that would not be a viable option for me. I'm sorry. That's just not in my nature. I'm a rebellious mofo, right? I just go for it. I just make these changes. I make these shifts. I instantaneously and spontaneously shift into the greatest cosmic resonance that I can be. So let's talk about, the spiritual circus here surrounded by. Carnival of static, noise, okay, saffron robes, delusional self-help addicts, pretending that they're going through another portal, another awakening every Tuesday. Light worker, channeler, healer, and everyone's a mystic until it's time to start doing inner work without an audience. Oof. Someone's gonna wake up from this video, I can already tell, right? Most people want the aesthetics, not the actual transformation. They want the vibes, they don't want identity death. They want to cling to their safe little world. They want the validation, not the evolution, right? They want the language of depth without doing the descent. But you, as you're listening to this, as a mystic, you cannot remain soft. You're here to reshape your internal gravity. An identity shift is not a glow up. It's a controlled psychic demolition. It's looking at yourself without filters and saying, I'm done negotiating with my smallness. And when you stop playing this kind of spiritual puppet master, hiding behind incense, clouds, and positive thinking all the time, and wishful thinking, outsourcing your own intuition onto these other psychics and channelers and mystics, rather than finally meeting the real you, the one that doesn't need permission, the one that doesn't need validation. And you're not becoming someone new, you're becoming someone true. This is very important for you to understand, because I used to live in this paradigm of I'm becoming a new me, and then I'd feel guilty about the old me. Right? And this is not the way to identity shift or transform. The way you're going to do it, like I said, is through one difficult action that stretches you, right? That gets you from your comfort zone to your activation zone, I like to call it, right? Remove one belief today that isn't yours. Cut one sandbag and do one carefrontational act. Because the person you're wanting to become is behind the thing that you're scared to face, right? The magic you're looking for is in the thing that you're avoiding. Now, what's one sandbag you're cutting today? Let me know in the comments. Let's get it today, Upward Spiral Gang. Happy December. Let's win.